David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, or whatever it's being called this week, depending on what acquisitions they have recently made. You probably know that name most closely associated with the practice of the destruction of art. For, good and sound reason, because as soon as he became CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, he decided to just start destroying art. He took Batgirl, a finished film, and canceled it and had all copies of it destroyed so that he could write it off for taxes, but they really had to get the Flash out. He has decimated the catalog on Max. First off, he renamed HBO Max to Max, so he destroyed the branding of that. HBO is a name that we have long associated with quality, and he just threw that away for Max. That's what we gotta have. But he's decimated the animation that's on Max. I think Looney Tunes is now all off Max, which is insane because it's Warner Brothers. How many movies have you seen that had Bugs Bunny leaning up against the Warner Brothers shield as the intro of the movie? That was a big thing in the 90s. Bugs Bunny is Warner Brothers Mickey Mouse. What are you doing, man? And particularly as we're talking about the Looney Tunes, there was a movie in the works for Max called Coyote versus Acme, which was going to be another one of those Looney Tunes movies that mixed live action and animation. And while I hesitate to want to see more of that stuff, I would honestly just prefer a straight animated Looney Tunes film. I think that would be great. By all accounts, it was actually a pretty good movie. Basically, everybody involved with it had nothing but positive things to say about it. Apparently, James Gunn co-wrote the script, and I love me some James Gunn. I don't think I've seen anything from James Gunn that I haven't at least really liked, if not, outright loved. So when news came out that it was being shelved, well, obviously everyone got mad about it, and there was production details that some people who worked on the show were posting online to make sure that it didn't get memory hold. And because of that, Warner Bros. Was forced to be okay, you know what? We're not shelving it. We're gonna shop it around. We'll see if somebody else wants to pick it up. So that's the backstory. That's where we had left off until a few days ago. The final days of Coyote vs. Acme offers rejections and a Roadrunner race against time. Warner was seeking $75 to $80 million, but rejected offers from Netflix, Amazon, and Paramount, insiders tell The Wrap. Quinn says we need Angry Fesh for this. Yeah, we do need Angry Fesh for this. In early January, Coyote vs. Acme producer Chris DeFaria got a startling phone call from a Warner Bros. Executive. They just want to get this behind them, the executive told DeFaria. They want to close the books. In the words of the Roadrunner, meep. Shut the fuck up, Drew Taylor. Nobody's asking you to... Come on. Your editor should have deleted this line. The movie, a live-action animated hybrid that stars Will Forte and the Looney Tunes gang, had been earmarked for demolition on November 9th, but following the announcement that the movie would be canceled, a firestorm of outrage and indignation erupted. It was heightened by a friends and family screening that had already been planned before the cancellation announcement was made. The screening brought more goodwill and an even louder public outcry. What was so exciting was that it felt like the film captured the voice of the Looney Tunes that we love in a way none of the other feature versions have ever done, Paul Scheer, who was at that screening, told The Wrap. The last movie to feature the characters, 2021 Space Jam: A New Legacy, was pilloried by critics and lost money, and even had Rick and Morty in that movie. And then the latest season of Rick and Morty had a cutaway gag where Rick had murdered the versions of Rick and Morty that appeared in Space Jam, and Morty's like, how'd you do it? He's like, it was easy, they welcomed it, they couldn't stand to live with themselves. So Space Jam: A New Legacy was a horrible movie. Not like Space Jam itself was good. People who have fond memories of Space Jam were just kids in the 90s and just, appreciated some of the camp of it. The first one was definitely better than A New Legacy. A New Legacy was just, it had the Ready Player One problem where it's just we have all these IPs, let's shove as many of these IPs as possible. And yeah, it was a very, very cynical film that if you're going to destroy something like Space Jam: A New Legacy. Warner Bros., reacting to the hubbub, walked back its initial decision. Instead of canceling the movie outright, the studio would give the filmmakers the chance to shop it around. If another studio wanted to pick it up, they could. Now, months later, Warner Bros. Has had enough. The call to Defaria made that crystal clear. With Warner Bros. Discovery's fourth quarter earnings call scheduled for February 23rd, Coyote vs. Acme is running out of time. Many on the film's team feel that the studio will use the ending of the quarter to get the movie off the books for good. Coyote vs. Acme is running up against something worse than a tunnel painted at the side of a mountain or a falling... Stop! Stop! Drew Taylor, stop doing this. Stop. It's not funny. Just tell the story. I don't need you to... This is my job, okay? I'm the one who's reading your story and interjecting with my thoughts. I don't need you to editorialize here. It will finally be silenced by a movie studio's balance sheet. In a truly inglorious end, a source close to the movie doesn't believe Warner Bros. Would even announce that they hadn't found a home for the movie. They would unceremoniously delete it, never to be seen again. Offers and rejections. Following the death and potential resurrection of Coyote vs. Acme, there were screenings for interested parties. According to several people familiar with the situation, Netflix, Amazon, and Paramount screened the movie, which was received well and submitted handsome offers. Paramount even proposed a theatrical release component to their acquisition of Coyote vs. Acme that would allow for Warner Brothers to save face and, more importantly, let audiences see the movie the way it was meant to be experienced. Warner Brothers did not respond to requests for comment from the Wrap. But Warner Brothers, which stood to make $35 to $40 million on the tax write-down, wanted something in the ballpark of $75 to $80 million from a buyer. And what's more, they wouldn't allow the interested studios to counter Warner Brothers' offer. It was a take-it-or-leave-it situation, one that the other studios didn't even know they were entering into, insiders told The Wrap. David Zaslav is a cancer but he's like a cancer that has been genetically engineered by capitalism to be the perfect example of capitalism. David Zaslav is in charge of an entertainment empire, but he doesn't care about entertainment. The only thing he cares about is the bottom line, which makes sense under capitalism. And in fact, it's kind of legally mandated that the CEO of a company has to do everything in their power to create the most revenue for shareholders. That is their primary fiduciary duty. But by doing this, by coming up with the idea that we can make more money by destroying things, it's so cynical, it's so evil. You're an entertainment company that destroys entertainment. You're just a parasite. And hopefully it's so malignant that we'll see some change, because I don't think if you're going to take a movie that's completed and just shelve it for the tax write-off, I don't think that should be allowed. I think that should be illegal. I think there should be criminal penalties for it, or I don't know if criminal penalties, but at least no criminal penalties. You know why? Because if it's just civil penalties, if it's just a financial burden, it would need to be more of a fine than they would make in profit by doing it. And generally speaking, financial penalties for things of this sort don't actually end up matching how much money they make from it, so it just becomes the cost of doing business. So whatever laws that they need to enact to put a stop to this practice needs to be the kind that stop the practice and not just make the practice make them a little less money. But this shows clear bad faith on Zaslav's behalf. He was doing it just to save face, and then it's like, oh yeah, we shopped it around, but nobody bought it. Nobody bought it because you wouldn't accept counteroffers, and you were expecting to... Yeah, this is nuts. Information about the potential sale of the project got to Eric Bauza, an actor who provided the voice for several characters in the film. In late December, he felt so optimistic that he shared a photo from the movie of Forte and the Coyote, see below, on social media, and then said, "See ya in 2024. Behind the scenes, though, the noose around the movie's neck was tightening. Executives skipped the screening. Well, of course they did. Yeah, I'm skipping ahead here. Zaslav never saw the movie at all. That does not surprise me. What made the situation even more appalling is that, according to a source close to the project, the four Warner Bros. Executives responsible for making this decision, CEOs and co-chairpersons of Warner Bros. Motion Picture Group, Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, along with Warner Bros. Picture Animation President Bill Damashki and embattled CEO and President of Warner Bros. Discovery, David Zaslav, haven't even seen the finished version of the movie. Zaslav never saw the movie at all. DeLuca and Abdi saw a director's cut, and Damashki saw the first audience preview. Significantly, Coyote vs. Acme was developed and greenlit by a previous regime. The only executive that worked on the movie that is still at the company is Jesse Ehrman. These executives, who trumpet a filmmaker-first approach and have recently signed big deals with directors like Ryan Coogler and Paul Thomas Anderson, who conspicuously made their deals after the filmmaker-led backlash to Warner Bros. Had subsided, were apparently prepared to trash a movie that they'd never even watched. Ryan Coogler, you do good stuff. You've signed a big deal, so you're under contract now. Be very careful. I would say no director should be signing deals like this with Warner Brothers right now, because they're just going to destroy your work for a tax write-off. Like, if your only purpose in going into Hollywood is to make money and you don't care about making the art, then honestly, fuck off and find another business, because this is the entertainment industry. You make entertainment. You make money from the entertainment. You don't destroy entertainment to make money. That is antithetical to everything that the entertainment industry should be about. Even so, the reason for Coyote vs. Acme's cancellation remains damnably unknowable, even to those who made the movie. Publicly, Warner Bros. Blamed the decision on a shifting global strategy to focus on theatrical releases, and initially indicated it would take a tax write-off on the film, which is based on a New Yorker article by Ian Fraser from 1990. The problem, it seemed, was the movie was not strong enough for a theatrical release and didn't fit anyone's streaming strategy in the WBD universe. What does that mean, streaming strategy? You just release shit. You just put it up there. This isn't a movie theater. This isn't gonna be like, oh, this is 3 hours, and this screen, we want to make sure that we can get at least one more screening per day. Can you cut off 30 minutes of it so that we can get more screenings of this movie every day in this movie theater? It's streaming. You just click play and then it goes. What are you talking about, streaming strategy? It's, you bought the movie, you made the movie, you have the movie. Put it on the fucking service. But there was a precedent. Yep. When Warner Bros. Announced that Batgirl, a $90 million superhero movie, we know all this. I went over this already. According to a source close to Coyote vs. Acme, getting rid of a wholly finished movie became an acceptable means of dealing with a problem. And yes, that is right there. That is the danger that David Zaslav has introduced to Hollywood, and why it needs to be made illegal. When they weren't sure what to do with Coyote vs. Acme, which originally had a release date later claimed by Barbie, the option to simply disappear it was taken, at least for a few days. What makes the situation with Coyote vs. Acme more baffling is that, unlike Batgirl, the film consistently received great scores from test audiences. Several Warner Bros. Executives have gone out of their way to claim that Batgirl was unreleasable. That simply wasn't the case with Coyote vs. Acme. And I could believe that Batgirl was bad. DC's track record has not been great. I still think that they should have released it. If they were going to cancel one, it should have been The Flash, because fuck Ezra Miller. But yeah. But Warner Bros.' proclamation that the filmmakers could take it elsewhere was dubious at best. Back when the announcement was made that the movie wasn't totally dead, a source close to the production remembered thinking maybe they'll try to run out the clock. Throughout the process, Warner Bros. Refused to share specific details with the filmmakers about the proposed deals, and Warner Bros.' rejection of those deals. Everything was captured through a hazy fog of second-hand phone calls and conversations. There were champions of the project for sure, but they couldn't force Warner Bros. To properly communicate with the filmmakers. Intent to not only offload Coyote vs. Acme, but to make a profit while doing so, the studio insisted on a price tag that would cover negative cost plus what the movie cost the studio and additional fees that Warner Bros. Had incurred. They made a short-sighted choice based on dismal third-quarter projects, said a source close to the movie, and reversing the decision to cancel Coyote vs. Acme was simply not possible. Now, 90 days later, with the Save Coyote vs. Acme hashtag still present on social media, is it? Like, I don't know, I don't really pay attention to hashtags anymore. That feels like a very boomer thing to do. Like, nobody really uses hashtags anymore. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe on a different social media source. I'm primarily on Twitter, but I don't know. It feels like hashtags are kind of a bygone thing. It feels like the end of the line for Coyote and all of his Looney Tunes friends. And barring a similar outpouring of support, or without a big offer in the next few days, that'll be all, folks. God damn it, Drew Taylor, stop. Your cutesy little things. No, stop writing that way. Yeah, I really want to see this film. People who have worked on it have just, they've had nothing but positive things to say about the film. It sounded like it was going to actually capture the feel of Looney Tunes better than any of the other, live action animated hybrid stuff had. And like personally, Coyote and Roadrunner was always my favorite of the Looney Tunes. Anytime I was watching it and those came up, I was just like, yes, we got another one of these. So I don't know. Something needs to happen. Like Congress needs to act, or I don't know, maybe California can step in, because California's legislature is probably less gridlocked than Washington is. So whatever needs to happen to make sure that businesses can't do this anymore, it should happen. What form that takes, I don't know. That's a conversation that we can have later, but something needs to be done, because this avenue of revenue is evil. It's destructive. It runs counter to how we should behave as a society. It's a movie that's been made. It exists. It's there. And they're just going to destroy it for a tax write-off. That's just evil. So somebody at Warner Brothers, I hope you leak it. If it can't get bought, I hope somebody leaks it, and I hope that the bootleg keeps going around forever. And I hope David Zaslav rots in a jail cell for something. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that one. David Zaslav, stop. Go away. Leave our media alone.
Hey, thanks for watching. Your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. And drop a comment below telling me what you thought of the video. I stream Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific and Sundays at 2, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons, with a very special shout out to my Whaled Shark tier patron Ryan D and my Anemone friend tier patron Piftle Cakes. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.